Aloha, motherfuckers!
Yo.
Yo, Joe, one could almost say.
We saw GIJoe.
Retaliation.
Retaliation. It's not the worst named movie I've ever heard.
It was a better, more accurate adaptation of the 1980s cartoon than the first one, by
Was the first
far.
one with mech suits in it?
It had mech suits, yes. It also had Marlon Wayans as Duke's, black best friend. So it's like, I got the feeling that until they killed Duke, although everyone knows he's only really in a coma, he'll be back. He just collected black best friends who he had sort of homoerotic, sort of, amusing conversations with, and then, of course, they had to ruin that by killing off Duke.
By the way, you're not really in shot.
No one wants to see me in a way, it's okay.
Oh. No, this movie was shit. I really didn't enjoy it. It was a good action flick if you have never been in a combat situation or a bar fight, and you just don't know how to think tactically.
It's an adaptation of the GIJoe cartoon. You're just lucky they're not in tanks which don't have any sort of armor at all, and everyone's exposed, and they're firing lasers randomly, not actually hitting anything, and just blowing shit up and everyone's surviving. You're lucky that's not happening!
The two ninja guys were fighting in the middle. Okay, spoilers by the way. And they both, one had a gun, one had a shuriken. And he's only using his gun to stop the shuriken. He never tries to shoot the guy until after the guy starts to dodge. Then they both have saya and, well, not quite katana. One of them had a katana, the other one had what I would class as daido swords. And well, the sayas are designed to fight swords. But one of them pulls the saya, the other one pulls a saya on him. What the fuck, man? That's like, haha, I see you've brought a knife to a gunfight. Well, I'll draw a knife. It's the least tactically minded. Their entire plan at the end was, let's have a brawl. No, at the start they were doing stealth insertion stuff, standing under a spotlight using big light-emitting gloves instead of a pair of wire.
Well, if you're going to have your light-emitting gloves, like I said when we were watching this, if you're going to have your light-emitting gloves and use them at night, you might as well stand in the place with the most light so you don't know and no one notices the extra light.
And whenever they were stealing the nukes for the first time, instead of using, I don't know, gliders, stealth planes, they used things with fucking VTOL fire-blasting, loud motherfucking jets. And nobody inside the compound heard them.
GIJoe.
Why did the helicopter need two jet engines on the back? That's counterproductive. The helicopter's going to do that if you don't have something
If
going
that's
sideways.
the least practical piece of hardware that you see in it, something that's named GIJoe, you're getting off light.
And Bruce Willis had a P-90 in his house, and nobody took the P-90! Oh my god, it's the best thing
We're
in
both
the
fairly
world.
convinced that they actually filmed some of Bruce Willis's stuff at Bruce Willis's real house.
Yeah, he just starts walking around the house and pressing random buttons, and the first one opens up the kitchen counter, and in there's a P-90 and a couple of, well, mid-range, they look like, what do you call it, the plastic tank tops to me, which are always fun, but they took two sort of mini assault rifles. They're good, fair enough, they're tactical Uzis, basically. But they didn't take the fucking P-90. Nobody took the P-90, and it's my favourite gun.
Aww.
It's my favouriteest gun in all the world. And nobody took it, but they did take a milk tank equipped assault rifle, which is stupid. But it's a grenade launcher that he never used. Sorry, but this was just unrealistic. It's the least realistic thing I've ever seen Bruce Willis in, although he was fantastic in it.
Seriously, you might as well be watching an adaptation of like Care Bears and be annoyed that it's quite cutesy. Seriously, if unrealistic is your benchmark for GIJoe.
Okay, they just...
it was better than the first one simply because the other one was the last one, which was done by Steven Summers, who usually I quite like, but he was not the right choice. That one was insanely unrealistic, but it was unrealistic in different ways than the cartoon. In this one, it's like they took the cartoon and they made, instead of lasers, they had like, actual guns, and they actually had people getting killed, and they filmed it in live action, and it's like, that's how you adapt a 1980s cartoon. Take note, Michael Bay.
I will admit, if you can turn off your brain that thinks about, wait, wouldn't this be easier if they did it this way? Wouldn't this be less harmful to them if they did it this way? Would this be less stupid if they did it this way? If you can turn off that part of your brain, it was an enjoyable film.
Yeah, if it was a film that's starting off with that was not an adaptation of GIJoe, then possibly I'd be more critical of it. But this is tonally, intellectually, a pretty much perfect adaptation of the cartoon.
I want an adaptation of Action Man.
Oh dear.
Just the sports.
There was the live action bits in the cartoon.
I know, but I want to see something big AAA release with, just the Silver Speeder, my favourite Action Man toy. It's just a big fucking off Porsche style sports car in silver with silver all over it. Then you press a button and the bonnet pops up and missiles come out. I mean, what's better than that? GIJoe, certainly not. They have tanks.
Pretty much.
And Action Man had Land Rover 110s, not stupid Hummers.
Do you want me to tell you what was better than Action Man when it comes to the, car, bonnet, missiles? Mask. Mask is the most generic 1980s cartoon that was possible at the time. And interestingly, Mask is actually set in the same continuity as GIJoe because Hasbro bought the rights and they've re-released a couple of the guys as GIJoe guys. So Venom from Mask is part of Cobra, and Mask is actually a subcategory of GIJoe. So if they do a GIJoe 3, now that Duke's dead, although he's actually just in a coma, I can explain what I'm actually talking about this in a little bit if you want, but then they could actually, theoretically, because they are very quickly going through main characters, because they had, most of the main characters from the cartoon turned up in the first film, and then most of them vanished. Duke turned up, got killed, or, made into a coma, and then they brought other ones in. It's like, they're going to run out of characters in the third film, so by the time the fourth or fifth one comes around, you might actually need Miles Mayhem and Matt Tracker. But, do you want to know what I'm talking about with the comatose thing?
Please, elaborate.
Whenever they were making GIJoe the movie in the 80s, they decided that they would kill off Duke in order to bring in a new hero who was, I can't remember his name, Falcon or something, who was played by Don Johnson, voiced by Don Johnson. So, they killed him off, but then the guys, the same production company, were making Transformers the movie at the same time. Now, Transformers movie had a higher budget and it was going to come out first. But the Transformers movie took the idea of killing off the main character, and they ran with it, and they killed off everyone from the original thing.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And Optimus Prime died, no. But then Transformers movie came out, and they made almost no money because children were traumatized by the film. They were crying everywhere, and parents refused to bring their kids back to see it again. It tanked, so they panicked. And instead, they redubbed the film just to say, Duke, who I believe was shot, it's like, oh, he's in a coma, and then right at the end, they just dubbed over this bit saying, "Oh, it's Duke. He's come out of his coma. He's okay." So yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But Optimus Prime died for your sins.
Possibly, but I'm guesstimating that in GIJoe 3, Duke will be back because if nothing else, as a reference to that.
GIJoe 3, Revengeance.
It's like, though. I kind of wish that they had what do you call him? Marlon Wayans from the first film in it again, because he actually was Duke's best friend from before he was in GIJoe, and The Rock wasn't a character in the first one.
So The Rock did very well in this. I normally don't like him acting.
I thought he was fine. It's just, they tried to get the idea that him and those two have been friends for literally generations, and they kind of weren't.
Duke, you're going to look after my two little girls. Oh shit, you're dead.
They also fucked up other bits of continuity, and listen to me, I'm talking about continuity in GIJoe movies, but this is live action movies because, okay, they indicate that Zartan did this shit in Storm Shadow's past just to turn him into evil so Cobra could hire him. Cobra didn't exist back then. Cobra only started existing at the end of the first film. They actually took over an organization that was being run by Destro, who was played by Christopher Eccleston, who was the guy they left in the tank in the start of this one. And Cobra Commander, during the first film, was 22. This one was 5 years later. He's 27. So, whenever Storm Shadow, I think, would actually be older than Cobra Commander. So when Storm Shadow was 8 and was framed for murder, literally Cobra Commander would have been a fetus. Now, even if Zartan is much older than that, and Zartan was just being all I'm evil, I'm doing shit just for my own means, it's still not Cobra doing it. It's just Zartan.
Was Cobra Commander called Cobra Commander before Cobra was an organization?
No, they referred to him as the Doctor the whole time, which was amusing because his boss was Christopher Eccleston.
That is quite amusing.
Yes. Then at the end, he's just like, "You may call me Commander," because and
Also, he was Darth Vader.
he was played by Gordon Joseph Levitt in the first one, and then of course so you have Bruce Willis in this one, just so you don't have some sort of a reality warping thing of saying, "General Colton, you are my future." But
Fuck Looper.
yeah, see, in the first film, now this is possibly the worst origin story for Cobra Commander possible. I'd really suggest just ignore the first film because they did pretty much.
I haven't seen it, and I could follow the film.
Like Cobra Commander was Duke's was Duke's sort of best-ish friend, and he was younger than Duke, and he was in the same unit, and Cobra Commander's sister was like dating Duke. And then there was this war battle thing going. They were going to raid this guy called Dr. Mindbender. You can tell he's going to be a member of the Salvation Army. Then,
Hey!
and I'm not being unserious because fuck the Salvation Army,
Yeah,
you
fuck
fucking
them.
homophobic fucks. But then Dr. Mindbender discovered these sort of nanomachines, and it drove him insane. And then then the building exploded, and the guy's younger brother Rex was in there too. And they're like, "Oh no, Rex is dead." And then turns out later on, there's like this guy working for Christopher Eccleston. He turns out, "I am Rex. You may call me Commander." And that shit happened. And then Christopher Eccleston got burned in the face, and then they injected him, which was really ridiculous. It turned his face into silver because in the cartoon, Zartan wore a silver mask. Not Zartan, Destro wore a silver mask, which just acted as though it was flesh. So they were like, "We're going to make his skin literally silver for some reason." And just that's one good reason not to have Destro in the films, because it looks fucking ridiculous. So yeah.
Sounds like what they did to Doctor Doom.
A bit.
Anywho.
I reckon if they do a third, they'll probably have Destro in it again, because, I don't know, Destro's going to want some payback for them leaving him on that tube thing.
The names in this film pissed me off. It's like, oh, your friends all call you Duke, therefore officially on the military register and everything else you'll only be known as Duke.
Well, in GIJoe land, they're all like code names. Duke, Lady J, there was CoverGirl in the first film, there was Hawk.
Also, Lady J, the fucking... what they did with that.
You didn't need to know she had daddy issues?
I didn't need no shit daddy issues, I didn't need a character in it simply for tits and ass, I didn't need...
I notice here you're complaining that she's there for tits and ass, but at the same time you're complaining that they attempted to give her depth. That's amusing.
They didn't attempt to give her depth. They attempted to make her a cookie cutter. I have daddy issues. They gave
the person who was only there to be tits and ass. They gave her daddy issues in an attempt to give her depth.
That's not depth. That's breadth. That's literally lifted out of every shitty film ever. The girl who's there for tits and ass will have daddy issues.
Yeah, they were trying.
Okay.
I'm not saying they succeeded. I'm saying they were trying.
And then he just that whole uncomfortable scene where your man watches her change. What the fuck?
I don't know. Those two people weren't in the first one.
There's a guy, and she comes back from stealing shit from the president, and
I assume most of the cast of the first one, which is weird. In the first film, one of the guys in the GIJoe team was Brendan Fraser, and according to Brendan Fraser himself, he's supposed to be like the grandson of Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, because it was the same director as The Mummy.
But this guy, she comes back in a red dress, and she's like, "Excuse me," or whatever. She sort of goes, "Stop watching me." So he sits facing the other way, and the movie makes it very clear that he's checking out her ass as she gets changed in a TV. It's just like, whose character developing here? Are we supposed to pay attention to the fact that he's being immature and weird, or that is this supposed to show that he's a normal guy, or is this just an excuse to have her ass in the film? I mean, we've already had her in a fucking sports bra running about.
Well, that one actually had a point, because they were trying to...
Well, that did have a point. It was a honey trap, but still.
Yes. Oh, the fact that Ray Stevenson played Firefly just reminded me that I want to see another Ray Stevenson Punisher movie. He is the best Punisher, and Punisher Warzone is the best Punisher movie ever made.
Those bugs were too small to hold that amount of explosive.
Dude, he's Firefly. He's the explosives expert for fucking Cobra. You're just lucky it's not a nuclear weapon.
Well, no, there were nuclear weapons.
No, the Firefly things aren't nuclear weapons. That's what you're lucky
The nuclear
for.
weapons were made of styrofoam.
Okay.
'Cause,
You
like-
notice after London was destroyed, you saw all the reactions of the international leaders except for the English guy.
Yeah.
And then when you saw the English guy later on, he was like, "Yeah, I don't care.
No, that's just 12 million deaths.
I'm in Hampshire. My house is in Hampshire. I don't give a shit."
Of course there is. He's a fucking British politician. They're all fucking home
Yeah,
countries somewhere.
it's like, yeah, stiff upper lip. We don't give a fuck.
Stiff upper lip. All immigrants were there anyway.
He was like, "Oh bollocks! You couldn't have destroyed Bradford."
You couldn't have done Paris.
Well, they did that in the first film.
Did they?
Yeah.
They destroyed Bradford?
No, they destroyed Paris.
Oh, right.
So, like, the third film, randomly, it's going to be Barcelona or Rome. Just like, Cobra has a thing for not terrible European capitals.
Although, I will say this. The fake president's plan to get the nuclear disarmament is one I could actually get behind.
If it wasn't obviously done by Jonathan Pryce.
If it wasn't obviously done as to get, you know, haha, we have one nuclear missile we didn't launch or whatever. But I like that plan. I thought it was very well done. Except,
What's to stop other people from building nuclear weapons afterwards? And why would everyone fire all their nukes? If you're going to fire, like, you know, enough nukes to destroy your enemy, why do you need to fire all your nukes if you can do it in 5? Why send 50?
because America said they were going to destroy every country 14 times over.
Yeah, why did they need to send all of them anyway? That I didn't quite get.
No, the plan was stupid, but I
It's
liked how it was
expensive to
done.
fire.
It's one I haven't seen.
You notice that
It's like if hippies had balls.
it's like a full half of the main characters for Cobra in this film are actually played by English people pretending to be American. You got Firefly and you got like President, evil President, because the evil President in real life, that was Arnold Vosloo, who played the Mummy.
Actually reminds me of another evil president I saw recently. That one you showed me, the black and white one.
Oh, Gabriel over the White House. Actually, that was a little bit similar to Gabriel, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see the similarities. But the,
You know, sort of possessed by another dude. Nuclear disarmament.
what was possessed in this? But, you know...
It's the modern equivalent to somebody with a false face. Also, what the fuck, nanomachine false face? He's obviously a master of prosthetics. I don't even need that.
Oh, he was a master disguise beforehand, and,
Yeah.
and they decided his idea was he took the nanomachines and he made it improved his natural disguise ability.
Yay.
He was the master of disguise, and he's like, holy shit, I'm even better now.
Well, if he wanted to take
'Cause
over the
the-
world, he could have sold that technology.
But everything that was used in the nanomachines, that was the whole film was all about nanomachines. They're using it to destroy Paris. They, you know, transformed Christopher Eccleston into like a silver-faced bastard. You had like people being brought back to life. You had, it was basically, that's the only bit of nanomachines that are left over from the first film.
Ah.
And in many ways, it's a clean break because someone looked at it and said, Stephen Sommers, you really shouldn't have directed that. Stephen Sommers, you maybe should have directed Transformers, and then Michael Bay could direct, you know, GIJoe, because if anything should look like a if any 80s cartoon should look like a GIJoe, like a Michael Bay movie, it should be GIJoe.
Also, if anybody hates kids as much as me, just a warning about this film, there's very loud kids screaming near the start of it.
And near the
Actually hurt my ears.
end. Near the end as well.
Mm.
I watched Small Soldiers in preparation for watching this, and just struck me. Small Soldiers you could totally make an argument that Small Soldiers is the prequel to the Transformers movies.
Well, Soldiers is awesome.
But also, you could make the argument.
True.
Because you literally got the same guy being the dad in both. You've got the sort of the son that has sort of fractured relationship with parents, and you've got like the mother who's just sort of, you know, being not all there, and it's like, holy fuck.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But no. Would you recommend the GIJoe movie?
If you enjoyed the cartoon, or if you enjoyed 1980s cartoons,
I have no exposure to GIJoe apart from this movie whatsoever.
see, that's possibly why you didn't quite grasp it, what it was going for, maybe.
As far as I'm aware, there was a cartoon made to try to sell action figures.
There was actually several cartoons, and the action figures predated the cartoon by about 20 years.
Yeah. I like the Action Man comics. They were less stupid.
Well, apparently I'm not as familiar with the GIJoe comic books, but the comics apparently were slightly more, I don't want to say adult, but
Gritty and realistic.
Tiny bit, yeah. But not a touch, nowhere near as much as the sort of the UK Transformers comics with Simon Furman. Those ones, it was
oh
like...
yeah, I heard about those.
Those ones are supposed to be like fucking brilliant. But if you want to see an actual adaptation of G.I. Joe, go for it, knock yourself out. If you have no idea what the fuck it's like...
If you've ever been in the army or any sort of military or paramilitary organisation or got into a fight, go watch it and turn your brain off. It was the action scenes were really nicely shot. Apart from whenever they zoomed right in, you couldn't see anything the fuck that was going on. But
I want to know why the two Joes were scared of the hood guy. That Roadblock was having the conversation with the guy in the hood, and the guy was being threatening to the other two. It's like those two were acting as though they were frightened by this guy. There they are, sort of international super soldiers, and you just got this guy with a beard in the hood. It's like, they really shouldn't have been scared of him.
No, I think they were more
intimidated.
scared that they were trying to get through stealthily, at least stealthily for them, you know, great sunken boots and stamping and firing firecrackers in the air would be stealthy for them, but they were trying to get through without being detected, and this looked like it was going to develop into an altercation, and they weren't in the mood for that.
I got the feeling they were actually intimidated. Okay, well, GIJoe 3. I want Falcon, because if Duke is in a coma, then you're going to have Falcon in there. Might as well have Don Johnson turn up. Serpentor, in the cartoon continuity, Cobra Commander is actually a mutated Cobra.
That's why he keeps his face covered.
And he's even less, and that's less ridiculous
In this
than the one
film,
in the
he was
first one.
Darth Vader.
Well, he was sort of mutated and shit by explosions. He was pretty Darth Vader's, yeah. But Serpentor, who is the guy from Cobra La, because Cobra are actually the descendants of like this, snake cult. Cartoon continuity. It's so to see them two somehow reimagined to make it less fucking stupid, and I want to see more shit blow up. It would be nice to see blow up in a film? Kingston. Have you ever seen Kingston, Jamaica blow up in a film?
Have you ever seen Londonderry blow up in a film?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
The entire city?
Pretty much.
Oh.
It wasn't done very well.
I've seen it burnt down in a film.
It wasn't done very well, but...
That's another thing I want to complain about. Americans that make films about non-America have this idea that everywhere else builds their houses out of wood and that they burn like American houses do. They don't. They really don't.
Yeah, we have
This is
red brick.
This is the modern day. You cannot burn Paris to the ground. Well, you can, but it will take a lot of effort.
So, who burned Paris?
Oh, it wasn't that. I can't remember what movie it was in, but some movie, it was set in some European city, and they started a fire and it spread like it would through a wooden town.
Yeah, it's one of the things I noticed about in America, the basic building material of most houses. Like, admittedly, when I'm in America, I'm in Pennsylvania or I'm in Maryland, and but there's a lot of wooden houses as well. We use a lot of red brick.
We use a lot of red brick and cinder blocks, and actually a lot of houses are made out of concrete with rendering on them.
Yeah, so you don't burn our stuff down very easily.
You can burn red brick. It just takes a lot more heat than you can generate with a fire.
You ever seen Sunset Heights?
No.
It's the sort of the locally made action film set in Derry.
Oh yeah, you've told me about it.
Yeah, I'm going to do a video at some point.
Alright.
But, GIJoe the movie, well, GIJoe
2.
Retaliation. Honestly, I would have cut the entire Storm Shadow Snake Eyes subplot and replaced it with shit that actually was important to the plot. Make it less crap and maybe have Duke in there.
One thing they never explained was Storm Shadow was abducted from the mountains. Now, obviously Cobra Commander will know that. And then he just appeared back over Commander's side again.
He probably just, Storm Shadow probably went in here and he's like, Storm Shadow! Where were you? And he's like, I was abducted. But I got away because the Joes are stupid. Indeed, the Joes are stupid! Cobra!
I'm Byrne. I wasn't in this movie.
Yes, I...
Christopher Nolan does GIJoe. Let's do that.
Can I get my Chris Latta going?
I'm Cobra Commander! Cobra!
I am Duke.
Actually, I sound more like a Skeksis.
Nah. He-Man, I will track you down and find you.
Next time, Gadget.
I kind of want to see a Knowing Is Half the Battle PSA starring those G.I. Joe at the end. They should have done that, and they should have had the G.I. Joe fucking theme in there. I'm not talking about the TV one. The TV one wasn't good. It was the G.I. Joe the movie theme. Was fucking brilliant. G.I. Joe the movie was terrible. The first 3 minutes? Ah!
Also, the rescue of the expat at the rescue of the hostage at the start, what the fuck? Just unrelated story.
Well, yeah, they're just doing all their military stuff. It's like the start of a James Bond movie.
Well, that usually is tied in somehow.
Well, this film was delayed by about 10 months. Apparently what happened was they decided to kill off Duke, and they filmed the film, and then, of course, Magic Mike happened. And then they were like, holy shit, Channing Tatum's actually a star, let's bring him back. And they filmed extra stuff involving him as Duke. And that's where the sort of out-of-place, sort of little comedy bits with him and The Rock happened. So I think that first bit might actually be from there as well.
Okay.
So that's possible. Also, I know it's the name of the character in the comic, and the cartoon, but you really should have renamed the Hard Master.
Yeah. Hard Master likes little children.
Yeah. And I do not recall in the first film there being a blind ninja guy who's black living in Tokyo on a rooftop. I don't recall that.
Yeah, you have two completely separate ninja organizations here, one in Tokyo, one in the mountains.
To be fair, that's a constant in G.I. Joe. You've got there's probably up to about 7 or 8 ninja organizations just running around because ninjas are cool.
Did like the comment halfway through, just whatever his name was, fucking ninjas. Or was it damn ninjas? There was no swearing in this film.
Oh yeah, I want to see Sergeant Slaughter in the next one. If you go to a list of the most ridiculous G.I. Joes, there's many of them online. I want to see some of them in there. I want to see, like, I forget his name. The guy, Shipwreck. I want to see Shipwreck in it. Shipwreck, who was brilliantly parodied in The Venture Brothers. He's just the gay sailor when he just runs around just dressed as a sailor. You know, there's the guy who's basically, G.I. Joe's official DJ. I want to see him there. I want to see Sergeant Slaughter, the wrestler, who was in G.I. Joe. He turned up in the movie. There's, like, one of the Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah. There was an American footballer who joined, and he used his NFL-inspired tactics to battle against Cobra. They have so many fucking random things. In the first film, they actually put CoverGirl in there, who was a model, who became a secret agent, and she only turned up in one scene and got shot. But it's like, it's got to be at least faintly ridiculous, preferably very ridiculous. To be accurate.
It's slightly ridiculous, but I can see it has a history of ridiculousness, and we must honour that history.
Yeah, making it entirely quote-unquote straight, you might as well just make the Hurt Locker rather than trying to turn G.I. Joe into the Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker.
I'm not complaining about the Hurt Locker, I'm just saying, if you try to turn G.I. Joe into something like that, you might as well just make the Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker would have been better with more comedy.
Well, I do want to see Matt Tracker and Miles Mayhem turn up in the next one. If they're running out of people, they're going to have to, and what the fuck happened between the Baroness? The Baroness is one of the leaders of Cobra in the cartoon. She was in the first film where she was revealed to have been nanomachine brainwashed, because nanomachines do that as well. And she was dating Duke, and then she was freed from that, and then suddenly she's gone. No one gives a shit.
Well, maybe the nanomachines eventually killed her. It's like cancer.
I doubt it. Because Destro's still alive with his face being all silvered because of nanomachines, and what do you call him, Zartan still using, looking like Jonathan Pryce. Wait a sec, how did Zartan get killed? Because he cut his own face open to demonstrate that, all it did was turn him back into normal for a second, and then it healed him.
He didn't cut his face open, he cut the nanomachine layer, which was about, like, a couple of millimeters thick.
Oh.
He was damaging the nanomachine layer to show how it healed itself. I thought that at first myself, then I sort of noticed that he hadn't cut very deep.
Okay.
Zartan got killed and the nanomachines fell off his face conveniently.
Okay, so
It didn't look like Storm Shadow.
Good work, G.I. Joe. You defeated me this time. Oh, check it out for fans of lesbian talk. My Nana wore t-shirt.
Oh, cool.
See, I did a music video for Nana War, and literally all I got was a lousy t-shirt.
I have a t-shirt that says something similar to that on the back of it.
But you did a music video for Nana War
No,
and you
that
got a t-shirt?
I did X and all I got was this shitty t-shirt.
Did you literally get that for doing X?
Yes.
Excellent.
It says, I staffed the staff in big letters.
Oh, is that like a core thing?
Yeah. I staffed at Core, and all I got was this t-shirt.
Core is a Derry
Gaming organisation.
video game thing. So if you're in Derry, I know at least one or two of my fans are.
Come to Core. It runs every Wednesday night, apart from next Wednesday night, because it's off for Easter, and it's good crack. Your first night's free. Plug!
You gotta translate what the word crack means.
Well, if they live in Derry, they know what the word crack means.
Yeah, but they don't.
Crack means good times. Drugs are not allowed at Core.
And if you're from Derry, the Sunny Bowl is over there.
Yeah, we're right beside it.
Yeah.
Also, if you're from Derry, I'm sorry.
We don't know when we're going to be doing another cinema thing with vlog and all. I may well be away for weeks and weeks, and if I am, expect a vlog from me and Omega at Iron Man 3.
I'm so easily replaceable.
If I'm not away, then expect me and Arnakarian with our vlog for Iron Man 3. Possibly another one before then. We'll see what's on.
Yeah. Oh shit, that film. There's posters up in the cinema now for a film.
Oh, yes. Oh, The Secret Life of Timothy Green. There's posters there. It's apparently just coming out in Northern Ireland. The Nostalgia Critic did his first rebooted review on this film, and it's just coming out here soon.
It said coming soon. And this is released in DVD and played on aeroplanes in the US.
Yeah. You know, I usually make a comment about how Northern Ireland stuff is so far behind the rest of it. It shows how shitty Northern Ireland is. I actually think that this is actually a good thing, because it means that the shitness of The Secret Life of Timothy Green, its half-life has, decayed enough that, Northern Ireland is okay to take it. It's like it had radioactive shitness, and we had to wait for it to be safe.
Okay. I think I remember watching Doug's review. I don't remember much about it, though.
Plant Boy.
Oh, shit, no. Yeah, no, I remember that one.
Yeah, that's the film. It's coming out.
I thought that was from, like, the 90s or something.
Looks like it, but it's not. Yeah. So, indeed, if you're in Derry, you can go to see The Secret Life of Timothy Green, and you could do a vlog and send me a link, and I will totally tweet it.
Or if you're in Derry and I know you, you can go to the cinema with me and pay me in.
Yeah, I could, yeah. This is the deal. He does vlogs with anyone for any film as long as they pay to get him in.
It's true.
Which is a good deal for me, because he has a car we can do this in, because it's like, yay, I don't have to go home and then do a vlog by myself.
It's a location. Anyway, I'm hungry. Let's go for food.
Yeah, we're going to check out a Mexican place in Derry, and Northern Irish Mexican food is almost always terrible. We're going to die.
Yeah. If we die, blame the Mexican place that used to be called the Gaslight.
You know what's amazing?
What's amusing?
The fact that people from the Republic of Ireland are occasionally referred to as Mexicans in Northern Ireland.
I've never heard that.
You have never heard that.
No.
You have never come across that.
I've heard them called very offensive things that I won't repeat on a recorded film.
Wow. You've never come across that. But it's true. Occasionally they are
And
referred to
sorries.
as Mexicans because they're from south of the border.
I've heard a song south of the border.
Well,
It's not about Mexicans.
so in Northern Ireland, if you refer to Mexican food, you might actually be referring to Irish food, though unlikely.
That's just plants that are boiled until you can't taste them.
And,
Stew,
yes,
which is plants that
Lots
are
of
boiled
lamb.
until you can't taste them.
and lots of lamb and stuff. Anyway, see you later.
Bye bye.